Steve vyrastal v kresťanskej rodine, ale ako tínedžer bol fascinovaný mimozemšťanmi, paranormálnymi úkazmi a psychickými javmi. To ho viedlo k spochybňovaniu kresťanskej viery jeho rodičov a nakoniec k úplnej posadnutosti teológiou Nového veku, New Age. Ježiš Kristus síce naďalej zostal súčasťou Steveovho svetonázoru, no vytvoril si z neho modlu, ktorá vyhovovala jeho vlastným predstavám. Populárny bloger, ktorého New Age články čítalo denne 100 000 ľudí, však jedného dňa pocítil prítomnosť niekoho, o kom v tú chvíľu vedel, že je vládcom celého vesmíru.
I believed that I was God and that we could all become Christ too, if only we realized this inherent connection we have to God.
At 19 years old, New Age blogger Steve Bancarz was a spiritual guru to hundreds of thousands of followers. For Steve, it had spiritual and financial benefits.
I was getting 200,000 to 300,000 views on it a day, and the income to me was an affirmation from God. I believe God was rewarding me with helping wake people up into a higher state of consciousness. It gave me a sense of power, a sense of purpose, and a sense of meaning and value, perhaps.
Steve grew up in a Christian home, but as a teenager, developed a fascination for aliens, the paranormal, and psychic phenomenon. That led him to question his parents' Christian beliefs and eventually led to a full-blown obsession with New Age theology.
The first thing that really got me doubting the biblical worldview was ufology. All of these UFO sightings, evidence from the ancient world that we might have been visited, and there was enough evidence to make me consider that maybe the universe is filled with intelligent biological life that was perhaps naturally evolved. If you piece together the alleged evidence for reincarnation and the alleged evidence for ancient astronaut theory, you get New Age theology.
Jesus remained part of Steve's worldview.
I didn't really reject him, but I didn't accept him for who he truly was. I created an idol out of Jesus to suit my own preferences, to suit myself, and to suit my sin. This Jesus was politically correct. He was a universalist. I wanted to be my own guide, and I didn't want to have to play by somebody else's rules.
As Steve began blogging about New Age practices and supernatural phenomena, he came to enjoy his prominence and the money and vices that came with it. But it was never enough.
I was a lust addict for 10 years or so. I was a really broken person. I didn't realize how broken that I truly was, but I was depraved. I was miserable. I had depression and anxiety that I was suppressing. I had all of this quote-unquote spiritual knowledge, all of this information, and it wasn't bearing any real fruit in my life. I felt like something was missing. I felt a little bit dead inside.
Steve had a disturbing dream.
When I opened my eyes, I was hovering 4 feet over my bed and realized that I was out of my body, and I started having a panic attack, and a being appeared in front of me, and this being had red skin with black markings on his face. It just scared me, because I realized that I wasn't in control, that this stuff is more powerful than I was, that these forces were real, and that they didn't care for my well-being. They didn't need my permission. I was in their playground.
Shaken by the experience, he began investigating the claims of the Bible and Jesus more closely.
I would sleep with the Bible under my pillow because I knew there was something there that was authoritative, that was true, and that was secure, and that had power over anything that I was scared of.
In his search for answers, Steve was drawn to stories in books and online of people who had encounters with Christ.
I would watch another near-death experience where someone would go to hell. Jesus would rescue them out of hell, and they'd come back, and the fruit of their lives, they would be totally transformed, and I'd feel moved and touched, and I'd think to myself, okay, there's something real to Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible.
Steve finally accepted one of his mother's many invitations to go with her to church. At the end of the service, he prayed and asked Jesus into his life, but it was more of a mental exercise than an act of faith.
I just decided in my head, intellectually, that I was going to soften up to him. But I still held all the same New Age beliefs. I still believed in everything that I believed in my sin life. I wanted a little bit more of him, but I guess I still didn't want all of him.
After a few days, Steve realized he couldn't ignore the truth any longer.
I reached a point in my life where the brokenness was weighing on me so much that I needed to stop playing games with my life. I needed to stop playing games with God and stop playing games with Jesus. And I just decided to go outside and to just fall on my face before Jesus and just weep. I was just weeping like a baby. I was submitting, I was repenting, I was tired, I was sorry, I was broken, and I couldn't do this alone anymore. And I was crying out for him. I wanted him.
In that moment, Steve had an experience with Christ of his own.
I could feel that he was Lord over me, and he was Lord over all creation. I could feel that he was concerned for me, but I could feel that he was king. I knew that he was king over creation, that the whole universe was under his feet, and the wind was just totally infused with his presence. And the thing that stuck out for me, that made me realize that I was dealing with God, was how the wind and the trees, the sounds outside, the birds, the crickets, they sounded like they were glorifying him. Like he was there with me, and they were acknowledging that somehow. Like creation recognized him.
Steve burned all of his New Age books and made a public statement to his online followers.
I told people within a few days of that experience, I'm sorry for misleading all of you astray. This stuff is not of God. They're tools of demons to deceive us and lead us away from Jesus. And Jesus is the Son of God, and he's exactly who he claimed to be.
Steve endured waves of ridicule and personal attacks from the online community, but that hasn't stopped him from trying to teach those who persecuted him. His website, reasonsforjesus.com, provides evidence and sound reasoning that prove the claims of the Bible and the only path to truth, forgiveness, and joy in life come through Jesus Christ.
He delivered me from the stronghold of New Ageism and of occult philosophy. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I feel more whole than I've ever been in my life. If there's hope for me, there's hope for anybody. I was the most lost person that I knew, and the Lord drew me to himself and had mercy on me. We come to the Lord, he forgives us, he gives us his Spirit, and he wants to help us heal and restore us and walk us through these traumas and these pains. And he wants to accept us and welcome us as a son into relationship with him, not into dry religious rule-keeping, but into a supernatural, intimate relationship with Jesus Christ and his presence.
When you become master over your own thoughts, you're going to succeed in all areas of your life. Truth isn't something concrete that's to be discovered. It's something to be created by the individual. We're ingrained with this sense of knowingness that there's something more than just this physical life. Like a lot of people, I was raised in the church and I went to Christian private school growing up. But that started to get questioned for me when I discovered the topic of aliens. I was getting into my hands channeled material that was apparently given to us by aliens. When I was reading it, the type of spirituality they were teaching, it was universalism, it was religious pluralism, it was New Age spirituality. And so I began to practice meditation, I began to practice lucid dreaming, different forms of contemplation. I had experiences that seemed to verify the research that I was coming across. At the same time, I was investing almost as much time into Christian apologetics. Everything that I was studying had to take Christ into account somehow. He was someone I knew had to be made sense of. After I began researching this stuff obsessively, I put together a Facebook page called Spirit Science and Metaphysics, and within a year and a half it grew to over 500,000 likes. And so I decided to make a website. In the first 3 weeks of my website being up, I made $57,000. I bought a nice little, 4,000 square foot house. I didn't live with a budget. I did whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. This entire time I'm literally living the dream. But the more worldly success that I had and the greater spiritual wisdom, ironically, the less fruit I had in my life. I was the most wicked person that I know. I had violent fantasies, anger problems, an obsession with serial killers. People were pawns on my chessboard. I'm writing articles on self-control, and I'm thinking like a psychopath. My psychology was just a black canvas, and there was no light on it. There reached a point in my life where I was not able to continue on in those things anymore. And I felt all of a sudden convicted that I needed to confess these things. During this time, I put my career on hold. I had to figure out some things about who's God, who's Jesus, who am I, what is this thing, why am I here? The next few weeks passed, and I had another set of lies that I was suppressing, and I felt God try to pull them out of me. That was the first time I ever looked at myself in the mirror, clearly. I saw that I was pathetic. My life was pathetic. I was a broken vessel. And I had no good in me. No life in me, no life. I knew that I had been sinning and that I had committed moral crimes against people and against God. That's when I realized I don't just need to be fixed, I need to be saved, because I know I'm in trouble. I went outside and I just fell at the feet of Christ, just really hoping that he would hear me and forgive me. He was my only option. I'm on my face, just weeping before him, and I feel in front of me, in the horizon, his presence enter in. Totally loving and gentle but holy, powerfully holy. And his attention was set on me. It was focused on me. The first thing I sensed was his lordship. I was under him, and he was so far above me. Not only above me, but above creation. I could sense when I was in his presence, creation, it recognized him. It was glorifying him and worshiping him. I'm saying to myself, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. It's so simple. He's not a mystic, he's not a guru. I don't have to try to ascend to some level of self-divinity through secret knowledge and meditation. Jesus is the Son of God, just like I had been taught growing up, and I missed it. I missed it the whole time. And so I went back inside after I had this experience. I had pure rest, looking at my bookshelf with all my New Age material. I remember looking at all of it and realizing I have it now. I'm done. So I quit my job. And I confessed to people online the lordship of Jesus. I apologized, I repented to everyone. I said, I'm sorry for leading you astray. This is all demonic strategy set up to lead us to hell. My inbox the next day just blew up with like, are you joking? You got hacked. Steve, go kill yourself. Steve, F you. It was a lot of persecution. I had to sell my house because I no longer had all this income coming in, and I sold my car. He says if you lose your life for my sake, you'll find it. And it's so true. It's not worth messing around with this life and trying to find yourself just to end up standing before the judgment seat of God. Every day that we don't bend the knee to the cross, we're playing Russian roulette with our own life. And the truth is, God is holy, so he requires a price to be paid for sin, and that he loves you, and he's already paid that price for you in Christ. You need to believe on him to receive that atonement. And he has good things for you now. He wants to restore you and make you whole and full of love and peace now. It's not just some afterthought in eternity. He says, I came that they may have life and life more abundantly. He says, whoever believes in me, out of his belly will flow rivers of living water. From death to living water. That's the gospel.